So the year was 2012. And I was sitting in a room much like this, actually not far from here, sitting in the front row, listening to my first, my first Dharma talk. And at this point, I'd been meditating for about a year, reading a little bit, starting to understand almost nothing. But I just knew I needed to do what you're doing today, just get a little bit more somehow, some way. And this was a weekend retreat. Although we went home, it was Friday night, all day Saturday, and all day Sunday. The way I like to remember it is that the first words out of the teacher's mouth were, "You are basically good. You're a good person." And I swear to you that he was looking right at me when he said that. And I don't know exactly what it was, but that was exactly what I needed to hear at that moment. It was the first time in my life that I believed those words. I'm sure somewhere along the way somebody had told me that I was a good boy, but I never believed them. In Buddhism, it's called Buddha nature. And if you take nothing else with you today, take that with you. Buddha nature means that we are inherently good, that each one of us has potential to reach our true awakening, our true nature, our true potential, whatever that might be for us as individuals. Now, this concept of Buddha nature is not unique to Buddhism. Hinduism calls it Atman. Christianity, it might be called the divine spark, or the God within every soul. Indigenous people might use the term inner light or great spirit. General spirituality, I hear quite a bit, is higher self or universal consciousness. The common theme of all of those, whatever you choose to call it, is that we have the inner ability within each one of us to change, to heal, to find that universal truth. Now, it's our conditioned mind. Okay? It's those causes and conditions of our lives that have clouded that up. Okay. We are good. We are all good people. I don't care what you may have done. Okay. I know for myself, I did a lot of bad. A lot of bad to a lot of good people. I made some really poor choices. Doesn't mean I'm a bad person. There are no bad people. I believe that's my core. But it's due to our ignorance, which I'll get into a little bit later as to exactly what that is, that we make those unwholesome choices. What we are setting out to do is to train our mind. Okay? And in training our mind, one of the things we need to do is constantly remind ourselves that we are good. Okay? We need to use compassion and forgiveness constantly. If there was a goal, I think it's just to rest in innate awareness. Okay, that's just a vast luminosity. Okay. On the table there is a crystal ball, and that represents the luminosity of the mind, the clarity that our mind naturally holds before we cloud it with all those judgments and perceptions. With that innate awareness, we can see how everything is interdependent on everything else. In Buddhist vernacular, that's called emptiness. That everything depends on everything else. In order for that plant to grow, it starts as a seed. It needs to be nurtured with the right soils and the right waters and the right temperatures. It needs all of that to grow. Okay? We need the people around us to help us grow. We can't do it on our own. The other is remembrance is that everything is constantly changing. That absolutely nothing, no matter how tight we hold on to it, no matter how much we want to believe it, everything changes. Okay? We're all going to grow old. Last week I was sitting in here making a little video and looked at myself. I'm like, where did all those wrinkles come from? I'm lucky. I'm blessed to have these wrinkles today. There was many years I didn't want to grow this old. So I value my wrinkles today. By holding on to these concepts of emptiness and impermanence, we're holding on to the right view. We're holding on to the right understanding that we need other people in our lives, other beings, other things, and that we're not going to last. Nothing is going to last forever. But it's our attachment, it's our clinging to these trained. This isn't, we trained ourselves over the years through our causes and conditions to hold on to things like that. Okay, so our trained ideas, our perceptions, our false views, these are what cause our suffering. And the suffering around us. Because of our lack of understanding, that's when we use our unwholesome speech and unwholesome actions. So that causes suffering to the people around us. So when I was younger, from the outside looking in, I grew up in a pretty nice household. And it was, in retrospect. But it wasn't without its issues. Because of the situation around me, I created a mechanism within me where, I didn't feel enough. Okay, looking in the mirror, I was a fat, freckled-faced redhead. Okay, now my perception at that time was there was absolutely nobody that I knew that looked like me. Okay. That, coupled with other things that had happened, just made me not belong, I never felt whole, I never felt right. I had a really hard time making friends. So, funny thing. So last week I was flying back from England here. And we had a layover in Dublin. In the airport in Dublin, I saw more redheads, freckled-faced redheads, than I had ever seen in my entire life. And the first thought I had was I finally belong. I feel like I belong. After all these years, after all this practice, I felt comfortable there. So throughout my life, started at a very young age, telling myself the same story. So as I said before, started with sobriety, meditation, and the wisdom that came along with this practice. There was nothing more important, and still is nothing more important, than my honesty. Okay. With myself. Okay. Of course, with other people. But I have to be brutally honest with myself. Until I was, absolutely nothing was going to change. I had to break free of that self-deception. Okay, these lies that I've been telling myself all these years. That path, as I said, started with sobriety. Then it moved on to 2 books. The first book was The Art of Happiness by the Dalai Lama. I wanted to be happy. Who else but, the Dalai Lama to tell me how to be happy? I didn't understand that book. The second book that I picked up was a book by a gentleman by the name of Lama Surya Das. And Lama Surya Das is a New York Jew from the Bronx who became a Lama. Went to Tibet or Nepal, India, studied, and did the deal. So I'm thinking, if a Jew from the Bronx become a Lama, a Jew from, Lyndhurst, Ohio can certainly, figure something out. What Lama Surya Das talked about in this book, the book's called Awakening the Buddha Within. And a lot of the book is talking about the Four Noble Truths. That was the final hook that I needed to really begin to get truthful and understand how to purposefully change. For those not familiar with the Four Noble Truths, the first one is that everybody suffers. Sometimes we can feel like we're on an island that nobody can possibly know how I feel. Okay, and that's just a lie. Everybody has pain and suffering in their lives. It's part of being alive. The main cause of that suffering is craving, or a thirst for things to be different than they are. Not living in reality. The third truth is that we all have the capacity to change through this mind training. We all have it. If we started that way, all we need to do is peel back the layers to find it again. And the fourth truth is the path. And the path is an ethical, wisdom, and mindful approach to living. Okay. While this was taught initially 2,600 years ago by the Buddha, everything that it lays out is in every spiritual tradition. Maybe worded differently, but it's there. So as we're going through this honest approach to ourselves, what we're doing figuratively and literally is polishing the mirror. Okay, looking at ourselves and really cleaning it up and saying, what's going on here? Facing the truth, honestly witnessing it, and evaluating how our mental and emotional deceptions obscure that truth. We have to be honest about our imperfections. Bring awareness to them. Like I said, no more lies. I've always been a fan of this line, even when I was in complete denial. But denial is not just a river in Egypt. No small lies, no white lies, to ourselves or to others. Sometimes it's best just not to say anything at all. You know, in my life, I have built up so many false stories about myself that some of them I came to believe were true. Okay? And I will, still to this day, find myself talking with a group of people, I should say listening more so to a group of people, and wanting to interject one of these falsehoods because it helps build me up, makes me feel more a part of or better than. And I have to catch myself, and just not say anything at all. Why can't I just be happy in their joys and laugh at their life stories or whatever it is? Why do I have to feel like I have to be one of? Because I'm still, in many ways, an insecure little boy. And that's okay. But I don't have to stay this way. No one's perfect. We're all flawed. So, as we look at our habitual tendencies, seeing them honestly, just like I said at the very beginning, it's an awareness. It gives us that opportunity to change. Okay? Sometimes we need to talk to a trusted friend. Ask my wife. She'll tell you all my habitual tendencies. Okay? That's okay. I need that honesty in my life. I need people to be my mirror when I'm not able to look clearly. We need to keep an open mind to see that truth and to clean our mirror. Capacity is in every one of you. I know that for a fact. Okay? I can look at my life. I can look at the life of countless people that I've met. And I listen to their stories, things that they had done. And I'm like, there's no way that you are that same person. We all have that nature in us. Okay. The Buddha taught that we're all Buddhas, not Buddhists. You don't have to be a Buddhist to understand or do any of this. You can call it that inner light, call it that divine, whatever you want. It's present in each one of us. Right? And it is not impermanent. It's always there. Okay? It's unbound. The source within us is immaculate. It can be relied on and depended on. The more we practice with it, the more we gain confidence in it. Just need to remind ourselves. And the interesting thing is, the more we have confidence in us, the more we have confidence in those around us. then we begin to think about other people more. We care about other people more. Within Buddhism, there's a term called bodhicitta. And bodhicitta is a purified and open mind, desire to help others and yourself. You begin to think about what seeds within you want to water. The wholesome, helpful, or the unwholesome, selfish, self-centered. So we have to really put forth some effort into our thoughts and then our lives. Dalai Lama said, "We are all visitors on this planet. We're here for 90 to 100 years at the very most. During that period, we must try to do something good, something useful with our lives. Try to be at peace with yourself and help others share that peace. If you contribute to other people's happiness, you will find the true goal, the true meaning of life." Now, the individual who holds those bodhicitta ideals of helping others is called a bodhisattva. I equate it to like a ship's captain. The last person off the ship if it's going down. And it just starts with a simple aspiration. And then the practice of love and compassion. And the practice starts with thought and intention and eventually moves into action. We need to train what are called the 6 perfections. I'm not going to go deep into these, I'll just list them off and don't worry about remembering them. But they are skillful activities, 5 of them, of generosity, discipline, patience, diligence, and concentration. And the 6th one is accumulation of wisdom without concepts, without perceptions. Today, each one of you are practicing the 6 perfections. Just being here and practicing. Generosity to yourselves and the people around you. Discipline of trying to sit still that long. Right? Patience, diligence, effort, concentration, and the wisdom. Some call these perfections transcendent perfections. Transcendent meaning reaching the other side. And that other side is a state beyond misery. I believe it is impossible to hold hate and love in the same hand, in the same heart. So how do we arise this bodhicitta? Starts by thinking of the benefits. Yeah. By thinking of the benefits of helping other people, it changes our purpose on life, as well as our outlook on other people and ourselves. We recognize that nobody, big or small, animal, plant, are any different than us. Okay? We all want to be happy. It's the bottom line. You know? Think about the golden rule. Right? Do unto others. Do unto others to do unto you. Okay? This requires a deep understanding of our interconnectedness with all beings. Okay? To cherish life. Okay? Even down to the smallest, down to a mosquito. Right? Mosquitoes are parents, they have offspring. We need to train ourselves and put effort into what are called the 4 boundless qualities. It's understanding compassion, loving kindness, equanimity, and sympathetic joy. Okay? Can we truly be happy for other people's joys? Or are we going to be jealous? Equanimity. Are we going to think less of others, or think we're less than others? Can we hold compassion and loving kindness in our hearts for all beings? It's not easy. Unfortunately, society, we're not trained to do this. Somebody earlier before was talking about, wouldn't it be nice if we could teach kids in early grade school to meditate in these practices. What different the world would be. One of the practices that I still do today that I started probably very early in my practice was I'll go to a park or a busy intersection. I did it on the airplane and at the airport. And quietly to myself, you don't want to say this out loud because you will get taken away. Just look at people, look at animals, and just say, may you be well, may you be well, may you be well, may you be well, may you be well. That simple act opens your heart to compassion for all beings. There's no judgments. We're not saying it based on the color of their skin or color of their hair, although I may have said it more to the redheads, but that's besides the point. Rumi, short little poem, giving light and warmth is the work of good humans. Pulling tricks and shameless acts are the work of lowly souls. Earth turns to gold in the hands of the wise. Gold turns to ash in the hands of the wicked. So the more we train our mind, stay open, maintain that non-conceptual awareness, that's how we create the new habit patterns. Loosening the grip and the stories that we habitually tell ourselves. Like I said, when the story pops into the head, recognize it, be aware of it, cut it off. Nip it in the bud, right there and then. Stop. It's not true. So I will sometimes have to be forceful with myself. This is not true. This is a story. Tibetan Lamas, there's a prayer that they say quite a bit. It says, may I mingle the Dharma totally with everything I do until I die. If we want to change, if we want to lead our lives from the point of love and compassion, if we want to retrain our mind to find our true nature, these can't be, Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning thoughts. Right? They have to integrate with absolutely every part of our breath, every single one. You know, I have a mantra I say when I first wake up in the morning, and it gets me out of my head and into other people. Yeah. I have to remember that if somebody cuts me off in traffic or does or says something to me, because I'm that important, that it's not about me. You know, they may be having a bad day. They may be late to work, going to the hospital. Who knows? It doesn't matter why. It happened in the past. It's impermanent. Let it go. All meditative techniques, whether it's yoga, chanting, seated meditation, walking meditation, tai chi, it doesn't matter. It's all tools to help us connect to this original nature that we have. We do that by purifying and mastering the heart mind. You know, the Tibetans, when they talk about the mind, they put their hand on their heart. This is the heart mind. Okay. This is where we want our values, our intentions to come from. This we can learn to have some control over. This takes a little bit longer. Possible, but it takes longer. So eventually we arrive at that true self. Okay. It was there all along. So for the balance of today, we'll begin your meditation practice with some concentration, just finding the breath. Then allow it to shift into this vipassana or insight practice. Okay. As you're doing that, remember our thoughts, right? We have three kinds of thoughts: the wholesome, unwholesome, and neutral. Okay? If those thoughts are wholesome or neutral that you're having, ask yourself, do I need to keep thinking about this? If not, just allow it to go without holding on to it, without adding anything into it. If it is something that you feel is valuable to hold on to and contemplate, then use that concentrative practice that we did with shamatha on that thought. Okay? So if you're having a thought of loving kindness or compassion, when your mind wanders away, which it will, come back to that thought, as we did the breath earlier. Okay? Maybe your thought is an unwholesome thought about yourself or somebody else, ill will of some kind. Be curious about it. Okay? Look for the root cause of that thought. And ask yourself, what's the cause? It's going to be one of three things, most likely. It's going to be greed or attachment. It's going to be anger, or it's going to be ignorance. And again, that ignorance is either going to be not understanding the emptiness nature or not understanding impermanence. Ask yourself, if it's one of these three things, what can I do about it? If there's nothing that you can do about it, then let it go. If there is something that you can do about it, take note of it. Chances are there's nothing you can do about it right now, so then let it go. So ask yourself, what will I do? Okay. So pay attention to the thoughts. Watch them come and go. Again, take care of yourself. If you feel yourself getting carried away by any particular thought or emotion, put your hand on your heart. Get up, go for a walk, whatever you feel you need to do. But do your best to find the causes and conditions. Greed, anger, or ignorance. All right, so we'll do similar to this morning. We'll do some sits and some walks. Probably our second walk will also, if you want, grab some tea. Okay, and if you want to go downstairs, grab a piece of fruit or some more soup, whatever. It's still out there. There's a little bit of sweets there. And maintain that awareness of thought throughout even the walking meditation. Okay, keep that insight flowing throughout the rest of the afternoon.